Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of ThirdEyeCyphs. I'm your host, Natalia, and I'm glad to be here. Okay, so today, what will we be talking about today? Okay, so this time I kind of had like a plan set up, and we're gonna be talking about actually something that was discussed at a temple that I go to. So every Thursday I go to these classes at a Vedic temple, which is like a sect of Hinduism, Advaita Vedanta, which is basically based around non-dualistic philosophies. It's just a one sect of many types of many sects of Hinduism. So yeah. Yesterday's lesson was on prana and pranayama. And for those who don't know what prana or pranayama is, prana, I would say, is the life force energy that we have. So our body has I think it has multiple energies, but I know that there's prana and apana, which are kind of like not opposing forces, but they're two type of energies that flow in different ways in our body. But that we didn't talk about that. We just kind of got around the basis of prana, which was it's energy. It's not physical energy. It's not electrical energy. It's kind of what you hear when you and the funny thing was that the Swami that was speaking, he didn't know, and this was a question I asked at the end of it, but he doesn't know much on like other world views or like religious views or like philosophical views of life force energy. So he was saying like new age philosophy, which is like kind of modern day spirituality now, as explained. It's just energy, vibes. In Chinese philosophy, you would hear qi or qi. But he was just saying like not to think about like those other ones, like just stick with prana or whatever. So then I asked, I was like, well, are you saying that prana and chi and ki aren't the same thing? And then he was like, I really don't know. Like I don't study those. Well, like that was kind of unhelpful. But from what I've studied personally, I'm pretty sure prana and ki or chi are the same thing. And there's many other words and other philosophies and religions that talk about this in many different names. But yeah. So I mean, you could do further research for yourself, but it was just like an unpromising answer, and it was just like, all right. But another topic we'll be talking about is comparative religion. It was something that he mentioned too. But okay. First, let's keep going with the prana. So yeah, prana is the life force energy. It's the energy that flows through us. If you've ever done like that magnetic force exercises in science class, like simple biology where you like rub your hands together and then like when you separate them, you kind of feel this force in between your hands. And it's a magnetic force. That's that prana, that ki. So because of the way it flows, it like brings your hands in when you breathe in, and then when you breathe out, it goes out, and that's like kind of magnetic force. So yeah, then pranayama was the second topic, pranayama, which is control of life force energy. So prana, and then yama, control, prana, life force energy. So pranayama is the control of life force energy, which is the main source of where you get this life force energy is through breath. So pranayama is control of the breath. And if you know any of the, what was I going to say? Like breathing techniques, meditation techniques, like inhale through the right nose, exhale through the left nose, just stuff like that, different kind of breath work techniques or whatever, in meditative practices, which are also done in like Buddhism, different branches of Buddhism, Hinduism, as you know, most of those Eastern philosophies. So yeah, we talked about a little bit of like the basis. We just talked about the basis of things, so like prana, pranayama, and then he kind of just like lightly went over pranayama and like what it is, how it works, who created it. It was no details, but it was a very interesting topic because of the way they approached the subjects, because it's like I didn't know what to expect from the lesson, since I'm very new to Vedic philosophy. So I'm more there. See, my thing is like I'd love to study different philosophies that kind of base around the same thing, just so I can get a good conceptual idea of how we work, how the earth works, how the universe works, and see the commonalities throughout all of them to kind of get the bigger picture. That's my thing. But that was like a thing that was like spoken against yesterday. And it was like, so yeah, this is when it comes into comparative religion. He says nowadays, a lot of people are into comparative religion, like looking into different philosophies and religions and trying to see what's common between them, and practicing all of them basically. And he was like, don't do that. That's not. He didn't say, I don't know if he said don't do that, but he was just kind of talking down on it. And I mean, like, I'm not going to be all offended or anything. It was just more like, I was more interested in how he felt about it. But I think I'm not sure if he was speaking from a personal view or as like in talking for the Vedic philosophy culture, I guess you would say. And then, yeah, somebody agreed. They were like, yeah, they said, dig one well deeply. And this is actually something I've heard before in different times. I don't know, like different things I've read, or just I've heard this a couple times before, where it's like, yes, you can explore all of these things, but in order to reach that end goal, that awareness, that I guess you would say Buddhahood, that's kind of the end goal in all of these philosophies. You need to pick one and dedicate yourself to that one. And I guess I can understand, because if you're spending so much time practicing a little bit of everything, you're never really going to get to the end result, I guess you would say. And as many people have said, all paths lead to the one goal. All religions are basically ending at the same thing. That was the basis of that. So yeah, I mean, you could just pick whichever one works more for you, and then you'll reach that end goal. And then I was trying to see personally, like, does that relate to me? Like, okay, am I gonna go around, practicing all this stuff and then be like, okay, I think this one works for me. But then I'm like, if you read my blog posts, I talk so much about how, like, my main life goal is to attain enlightenment. But after not all these years, but I've come to realize that in this lifetime, that won't be possible physically, just because in order to attain that consciousness, you can't be in the human body. It's beyond form, beyond thought, beyond mind, beyond time and space. So in order to attain that, you can't be in this physical body. But I mean, maybe when I die, but I don't know what happens when I die. So it's more for the journey now, and more of my interest in all of these things. But I see, and as everybody sees, truth in all of them. So, like, it's my interest to practice all of them, not for the end result, but I guess just to practice all of them? I don't really know. But, yeah, so it was just weird. He was like talking down on that, and then like people were agreeing, and it just gave me a lot of food for thought, just to see different people's views, and like especially this certain sect or philosophy's views on that. But yeah, actually, let me go through my notes, see what he talked about in Prana Pranayama. Oh, okay, so this is where I was gonna go with that. Okay, so pranayama is breath work, right? And this is something I was going to be talking about, is the 8 limbs of yoga. Not the 8 limbs of yoga, but different types of yoga. So pranayama is one of the 8 limbs of Ashtanga yoga, which is 8-limbed yoga, or Raja yoga. Raja yoga is like kind of, I wouldn't say the first yoga, but it's like it's king yoga. That's what it's known as. It's a very, I think this is what I got from it. So as he's speaking, he was mentioning Raja Yoga. I guess that's the basis of their philosophy. I couldn't really, I'm pretty sure that's what they mostly stay to. So like, if you research into Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, it's basically the learning, the knowledge of self. So their philosophy is, finding themselves, finding their true nature, that divinity within them that is also within God, So it's their whole thing is like, self-discovery to attain that knowledge of your inner divinity. And they see as all the other things such as pranayama and like breath work, asanas, which is another form of the 8-limbed yoga, which is regular, like not regular, but like, oh, I'm going to yoga today that type of yoga, which are asanas, postures, stuff like that. They see them all as tools to help, but if you're focusing on those, you're missing the main purpose of that awareness to see that divinity. You're focusing on the tools, on the little things, but you're using those tools to get to the main idea, the main goal. So that's their thing, is the main goal, the bigger picture, focusing on the bigger picture, and kind of using the little pictures as tools to help them see the bigger picture. Kind of like a puzzle. They're focusing on the main picture of the puzzle, not the pieces. But yeah, so Raja Yoga, King Yoga, it's very scientific, step by step. It's more attractive to, like the logical Western kind of mind, masculine energy kind of thing. Very like, okay, you got to do this, you got to do that. It's very like psychological based, focuses on mental states, delusion, suffering, stuff like that. Like where suffering comes from. And so yeah, a part of this Raja Yoga is 8-limbed yoga, which I'm not going to get into in this episode. If you want me to get into what the 8 limbs of yoga are, I mean, like, you can just look them up if you want. But those, I'll just go over them quickly. They're observances, abstinences, restraints. Abstinences are restraints. Posture, which is the asanas. Control of life force, which is the pranayama. Turning the senses inward. Concentration, meditation, and reintegration, which is like that oneness, becoming that oneness. But yeah, so two of those 8 limbs of the Ashtanga Yoga, which is part of the Raja Yoga, is the asanas and pranayama, which it's mostly seen as a different form of yoga, which is Hatha Yoga, one of the other main forms of yoga. So we have Raja Yoga and then we have Hatha Yoga. Now, asanas and pranayama from the 8 limbs of yoga from Raja Yoga are more seen as Hatha Yoga and more seen as like a separate practice and system. So I guess they don't practice that but then again, like, I mean, if you're mainly only focusing on Raja Yoga, I'm pretty sure they're not going to focus on that. But these forms of yoga are seen as tools to, seen as like different, basically tools, different things you can use to gain this, see the bigger picture, or like gain that one goal, that Buddhahood, that oneness. They're not pathways. You don't have to stick to one. You can practice various one, as many yogis do, practice many forms of yoga at once. So yeah, Hatha Yoga now is very correlated with Tantra Yoga. If you don't, I feel like everybody's heard of Tantra, especially if you're listening to this and you kind of know base spirituality. Tantra Yoga is more correlated with, sex. That's what you think when you hear Tantra Yoga. And it's really not. I mean, sex is like a thing that's mentioned in it and practiced as a spiritual thing, but that's not all what Tantra Yoga is. It's more of spiritual development through the mundane. So like the physical body. So like instead of focusing on the spiritual, because there's a lot of Hindu sects and philosophies that kind of see the body as nothing. We're just kind of like a bag of like bones and like blood, just holding, this inner spirit. So like, I guess they don't take like a good care of their bodies or something, because I mean, it's the body's not a concern to them. It's what's inside, But Hatha Yoga, Tantra Yoga says otherwise. This is, our body is our temple. This thing is holding our consciousness, so we must take care of it. Like, and that's just like, I personally feel. I'm sure a lot of you feel like that too, but just certain people don't. So Hatha Yoga is spiritual development through the mundane, the physical body. It's very feminine kind of energy, like goddess worship, sexuality, if you will. It's the creative force, creative energy, and it also involves kind of like limited intoxication. I guess you would say maybe psychedelics, or it's just very physical, like focusing on the body, using the body as a tool to use in spiritual development. But it's also comes from a blend of many different ancient beliefs and practices. So it's a mixture of a few things, but that's what Hatha Yoga is. So Pranayama is more seen as a Hatha Yoga. So I guess that's why they kind of just went over the basis of it, of like what it is, but they're not going to get into it because that's not their practice. That's what they were saying, basically. Like, if you're into that, then you've come to the wrong place, basically. And I was like, oh, have I come to the wrong place? But I mean, like, obviously I haven't come to the wrong place, because it doesn't matter. Like, if they don't, I'm still interested in what they're talking about. They do speak truth, and they do have, that logical aspect of, this spiritual development and inner philosophy. But I am very much interested in this Hatha Yoga. I guess I would say I'm a practitioner of Hatha Yoga, because I definitely do see this body as a temple, and I do practice asanas, which is let's go to yoga this morning type yoga. And pranayama I'm very much into, different types of breathwork techniques that you can use to reach these higher states of consciousness, which are awesome, by the way. You should definitely look into pranayama. I would say maybe not be careful, but like know what you're doing before you do it. Don't just like be like, oh, I'm gonna try pranayama today, and then you just do it. I mean, you could, but then like look into it first. Okay, the next form of yoga is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga. I'm very much a practitioner of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is devotion. It's surrender to the oneness, to the God. Prayer, singing, kirtan, which is singing these spiritual songs, mantras, studying scriptures, worship, rituals. It's very, very esoteric, I guess you would say. Not esoteric, but like there is an esoteric kind of sense to it, as well as in Hatha Yoga. But it's very devotional. It's very correlated with actually most world religions, like praying and stuff like that, going to temple, doing these rituals and worship and stuff like that. It's very, like you would think Christianity, because, you go to church, you pray. So it's very much that, but Bhakti Yoga. I love it. It's surrender. That's what I see it mostly. Surrender to the unknown, which you don't know. It's releasing that ego that you have within you that says, things are this way. This is how it works. Things have to be done like this. And it's just like, bruh, just let it go. The universe is beautiful. It does amazing things. There's so many things we don't know. There's so many things we will not know as humans. It's just... It's a very powerful force, this oneness, this absolute, this Brahma, if you will. And it's surrendering to that. It's just surrendering to the flow of life, basically. So yeah, that's the third type, I would say. Jnana Yoga is fourth. I would say it's the yoga of wisdom, the pathless path. It's very scientific as well, along with Raja Yoga. It involves inquiry and questioning, knowledge of the self-reflection, which is not bounces against, but it's maybe not the opposite, but kind of doesn't go with bhakti. It's more seeing what's happening, questioning, and discovering. It says, don't just put your faith into whatever you don't know. Like, don't just follow and believe, question everything. Look deep within, ask questions, discover, see it for yourself type thing. And, I'm also very much an advocate for jnana yoga. It's, I completely respect this. I see, and I would say I'm a follower of, because you have to question everything. You could just like blindly follow something, but without that knowledge, you're never going to know what you're following. Yeah, you can use your faith, but it's good to kind of know. But this one's more like see it before you believe it type of thing. And I guess this is what kind of started my deep interest in spirituality. So like I kind of like dabbled into it. Like when I first started getting to spirituality, it resonated with the words of like whatever I was studying at the time, just basic stuff like energy, chakras type thing. Not even chakras. It was more like I don't even know what it was in the beginning. I used to watch Spirit Science. If you haven't, I got put onto Spirit. That's literally what put me onto like this new age philosophy. Before spirituality, it started years ago, but like this new age philosophy started very much with spirit science. Like I put on Spirit Science. If you don't know what it is, look it up on YouTube. It's kind of like these like drawings that explain so much. But this is like when Spirit Science first came out, not anymore. Like first few episodes, like female energy, masculine energy, yin and yang, very basic stuff, but very true stuff that resonated with me very well, that I had no prior knowledge of. But as I was hearing it, I'm like, this is so true. Like, I don't know how I know this, but I know this. It was kind of like me remembering, and that's very much what happens with spirituality. Okay, so yeah, what was I saying? Spirit Science. In the beginning, it was just more like learning stuff, rather than, it was just like, oh wow, this is how it works. I agree. But the more I dug deeper into my spiritual practice, the more I was experiencing these things. It wasn't just hearing them anymore. It was experiencing it and seeing it for myself. And that's what made me dive deeper into this practice, just because like I wasn't blindly following it anymore. I was seeing it for myself. I was manifesting with my hand, not my physical hands, but like I can literally create anything that I wanted, and I saw that, and I was exercising that, and I was playing with my life force energy. You can actually feel it in your body. You can do all these practices where you can control it, you can feel it, and it's just like I was doing all this stuff that was verifying everything that I've been learning. And that's what did it for me. It's one thing believing and putting your faith into it, but seeing it and experiencing it for yourself is completely different. And that's kind of what changed my life. So I'm very much an advocate of jnana yoga. It's seeing it for yourself. And they say, if you open your eyes, this is jnana yoga, if you open your eyes and see the sacredness in life, if you see this oneness, this powerful, beautiful force, you're not going to need rituals. You're not going to need these tools and stuff because you already know. You see it. This is oneness. This is the life, all of that's, extra. You could do all that, but like this is here. This is here right now. See it now. And that's all there is. So, yeah, it's great. I love it. So yeah, that's jnana yoga. The next one, I don't know. This is the last one for me. I don't know. There might be other types of yoga, but I'm pretty sure there are many types of yoga, but these are like the main ones. So yeah, a last one that I'll be mentioning is karma yoga, and this is the yoga of action, the yoga of doing. It's bringing that awareness, that wholeness into everything you do. Laundry, dishes, like talking to people, going to work, just in all of your actions, bringing that spiritual essence, that knowledge, that awareness into you at all times. It's like it's like a quote that I've heard. Where did I hear this quote? I think it's a Zen proverb, and it's or like a Buddhist quote or something, and it's like before enlightenment, chop the wood, carry the water, something like that. And then it's like after enlightenment, chop the wood, carry the water. It's like this essence, this everythingness, this enlightenment, as I would say, is always constantly. You may not feel it, but it's always there. It's within you, it's there. And once you become aware of it, once you become in that enlightened state, it's still there. It was never not there. It never left. You shouldn't have to change what you do, you know? It's the same as everything was, you know? So yeah, it's bringing that awareness into everything. Bringing it into everything before and after. As I would say, you know, can you talk, like, you can talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? It's doing that. Yeah, I can speak all this stuff to you. I can say, be the greatest version of yourself, do this, do that. But if I'm not doing it myself, then what am I really doing, you know? So you can preach it, but make sure you actually do what you say, you know? Be an advocate of your own words. It also is based on like selfless service, seva, which is a term in Buddhism. Pretty sure in Hindu as well. Selfless service, serving others with no expectation in return whatsoever. It's helping the universe. This goes along with bhakti, you know, like serving the universe. You're serving the universe. Everybody is God, right? You're God. The person next to you is God. If you're serving others, you're serving God, right? Serve others as you would serve your own self. You are the world. It's a Karma Yoga quote. You are the world. Yeah, but these are all tools to help on our journey. It's not they're not pathways. You can practice many. Don't feel limited to just one. I forgot who was talking about this. They said I think it was on meditative practices. You know, if you're practicing one thing, you know, you practice it for a really long time and it worked for you in the beginning, but then it just doesn't resonate with you anymore, then you should move on. Look into other practices. Just do whatever benefits you, you know? Don't feel limited or restrained to anything whatsoever. But yeah, these yoga forms all balance each other out, you know, like jhana yoga balances out the bhakti. So like put your faith in things, but also question everything, you know? Raja yoga balances out that physical yoga. So Raja yoga says, you know, be that inward spiritual essence. Hatha yoga says also integrate, you know, the physical and the mundane. But yeah, those are the types of yoga, and that was kind of what I learned yesterday. Comparative religion. What else can we talk about? I think that should be it, pretty much. Some announcements before we leave. I'm gonna be doing some interviews, which is awesome. 2 weeks from now, I'm gonna be doing an episode with somebody I found on Instagram. Both follow each other, and he talks a lot on manifestation, law of attraction. He has a YouTube channel, self-improvement, stuff like that. So it's gonna be really nice to have him on the show and touch these topics from another perspective, point of view. And then a couple weeks after that, I'm going to be doing another interview with a good friend of mine. He's 17, and he actually just started his own podcast as well, kind of based around spirituality as well, and trying to guide, you know, the younger generation, which is really awesome. So it will be nice to have, you know, that younger kind of point of view, even though he has a pretty old soul. It'd be nice to have, you know, that perspective. So yeah, we have 2 interviews coming up, and then I just have a lot of storing for us, guys. No plan or anything. It just kind of comes to me whenever. But yeah, so I'm super excited for the future of this podcast and everything that we're gonna be touching. But yeah, so that should be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I love doing this so far. If you're listening, tell me what you have to say. My Instagram is Natalia of Earth. Natalia of Earth, this planet Earth. So yeah, this was another episode of ThirdEyeCyphs. Be sure to follow on whatever you're listening to this so you can get updates on when I post next episodes. I'll be trying to post episodes every Friday. I actually will be posting episodes every Friday. Not trying to. If I don't, then shame on me. I'll post the next day if anything. But nope, every Friday. So stay tuned. Follow me on Instagram. So I will also be announcing when I post new episodes and any other announcements you need to know. If you want to follow my blog, I'll be posting a blog post every Monday. My blog is The Writings of Natalia at wordpress.com. And then, I'll be posting a blog post every Monday, which will basically probably be, it's a journal, so it's like inner thoughts of me on this path, and then also like probably things I've learned and like things I've been thinking about. It's some pretty deep stuff. And then Wednesdays I'm going to be trying to post a new poem every Wednesday. Most of them are going to be bullshit poems because, beautiful poems don't always come to me. It's more going to be like free verse, just kind of trying to exercise my craft. So I'll be trying to do that every Wednesday. But new blog post every Monday and new podcast episode every Friday. So thank you so much, guys. It's been great. And I'll talk to you next time. Peace.